stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to order, roll call, starting on my right.
Councilperson Brent Fire.
Mayor Jimmy John King.
Councilperson Craig Anderson.
Councilperson Jeremiah Olson.
Looking for approval of tonight's agenda. Any additions from staff? Any at the table? If none, I'd look for a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We'll go to approval of council meeting minutes of January 9th, 2018.
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Second. We got a second from Jeremiah. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. That'll take us to finance and budget. We got the accounts payable with the additional listing there. If you have any questions, we can direct them to Finance Director Barb.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. No questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. General business. Under general business tonight, the first thing we're gonna do is a resolution on municipal tort liability and approving an insurance agent. Chris Stafford, the city's current insurance agent, will be attending the meeting to give an overall review of the 2018 insurance coverage and discuss the municipal tort liability options. While we're at it, and he gets done talking about that, we should also approve Mr. Stafford's appointment as the city's insurance agent for 2018. So, with that, Mr. Stafford.
Mayor King, council members, thanks for allowing me to be here again this year. A little bit about the year, then we'll get to the short part. Another good year for the city, another good year for the League of Minnesota Cities. Stewartville participates through the League of Minnesota Cities, and it's an insurance trust. And the way the League of Minnesota Cities is set up is they collect premiums just like any other insurance carrier would, but they also pay a dividend out based on loss history and exposures throughout the year. And once again, Stewartville received a dividend back of $13,218 against the premium paid in. And what that is derived from is, I like to say, good management. I wish we had an audience here tonight, but as council members, you see what staff goes through because of the different committees you're on. But the actual general public citizen doesn't realize what the staff and the public work people go through. And your staff and people that you work with here do just a super job. Your work comp mod is low, which means you're not having the expected losses that would come along with the different job descriptions. Your overall loss expectancy versus loss ratio is down below, and that's, again, why you receive a dividend back. I just wish the GP, general public, would realize what Public Works does while we're away at work or while we're hiding in our offices or commuting back and forth when it's 8 to 10 below and they're fixing a couple water breaks. Or how they keep our parks clean while we're at our jobs so that on the nights or weekends when we want to enjoy them, they're ready for their use. It's that kind of service that we don't see, and I just want to commend Public Works and the staff that you deal with here and your guys' decisions to hire that kind of staff for what you do, because it's tremendous, especially for a community this size. But again, you did receive a dividend of $13,000 back. For the upcoming year, really, other than any structural changes we do or any additions you were to make to what your practices are, it's going to be a flat year. The overall liability adjustments is basically zero. There are some adjustments coming. It's based on a lot of things. It's based on household connections to water and sewer. It's based on overall budget. It's based on employees. It's based on whether you have law enforcement or not. And when we balance all these out, your average increase should be a flat or a zero. Now, that being said, you're gonna see about a 2% rate hike in your workman's comp. Now, you won't feel the effect of a full 2% because you got like a 0.86 mod, so you're gonna get about 14% off that 2%. But overall, there is a rate increase in work comp. Some is coming in law enforcement, which you subcontract out, so you won't be hit with that. Part of it's gonna be in volunteer fire service. There's obviously injuries that come along with that to your volunteer services that is covered by workman's comp. Flip side, your bond rates for your bond coverage for your honesty, employee dishonesty bonds and stuff is going down 5%. Your connection rates for sewer connections is going down 10%, and your per household liability, if we don't cover households, but the territory type liability is going down 10%. So all in all, you should see a balance out without a lot of change this year. Back to your waiver and appointing me as your agent. Each year, we go through the formality of appointing me as your agent. They have come back and said we can let that stand if we want to, or you can appoint every year. That's up to you. I like the fact that you go through a resolution and make it official that you appoint me. When it comes to the waiver of tort liability, the state of Minnesota, through legislative action, set it up that they could limit the liability against the municipality. Unlike other businesses, in a normal business, the limit of liability is what you can stand, what your insurance policy can stand, and what your cash balance can stand. Municipalities have some protection from tort reform or liability losses set up by the legislature. And if you don't waive that tort reform, it's limited to $500,000 for any one litigant, $1.5 million for any one occurrence. An example, if you were to have a loss at the fireworks, which we insure as a special event for the city, and let's say one of those shells came down and there were injuries. They present their lawsuit, the first person coming in could collect up to $500,000. There could be 3 losses of that, or there could be multiple losses for the 5, 10, 20,000 of actual loss sustained. So it just depends on the loss, who comes there first. Now, if you waive your tort reform, then it opens up the door that any one litigant could go after the whole $1.5 million, shutting out anybody else. And so most municipalities don't waive it. They leave the tort reform in there, and they don't waive the limitation. You have that, but you also have $1 million umbrella that goes over the top. So if we have more of a catastrophic loss, we have that $1 million that goes over the top. Commonly, because of the fact that we don't run an airport, we don't have a dam, we don't have a power company, we don't have a lot of exposures that larger municipalities have, we don't have exposure to the big loss. The biggest spot where you could have a large loss would be if you decide to hit a school bus with a dump truck. I mean, there you could have a lot of injuries. But then that starts back again to a whole other channel, to their own involvement first and so on. I'm not worried about the legal aspects of that. So once again, if you do not waive it, you're limiting any one litigant to $500,000 for their injury or their loss. If you waive it, you open it up to $1.5 million. Could shut anybody else out. Past 21 years, you've been not waiving it. So I'll leave that up to your discretion.
Do we need to appoint him as the agent first, or do the tort first?
Whichever way you want to go.
All right. First resolution we're going to do is to, resolution on municipal tort liability. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue to do what we did last year, which is to adopt this resolution that does not waive the monetary limits.
Not waived.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one carries. Now, we need to approve or deny appointing Chris Stafford as the city's insurance agent for 2018.
I'll make that motion.
To deny?
To approve Chris Stafford as our city insurance agent.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve Chris once again for 2018. And a second. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. Bill?
We just want to comment, so you all know Chris and his staff do help us out quite a lot throughout the course of the year. Usually it's with a research question, a claim question, or just general coverage questions, whether it deals with volunteers, folks that help us out, or an actual city issue or situation. And he's always prompt in his responses, so we appreciate
I'd
that.
like to thank you for that too. The time I've been here, it's always been prompt.
Well, we're 24/7, so if you have an issue, you've got one. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chris. Next, under general business, 2018 CIP, approving plans and specs, and ordering advertisement for bids. The next step in the capital improvement project is to approve the plans and specs as prepared by SEH for the 2018 CIP street utilities improvement and to order advertisement for bids. We'll be asking the council to approve the plans and specs and order staff to advertise for bids. We will be opening those bids on Thursday, February 22nd, 2018 at 10 a.m. at City Hall. The city engineer will present the tabulation of the bids at the February 27th council meeting. The motion is to approve resolution approving plans and specs and ordering advertisement for bids for 2018 street utility improvements, which will be 12th Avenue Northeast, stubs of 3rd and 5th Street Northeast, Sunrise Court, Luella Place, and a portion of 5th Avenue Northeast. Do we have any questions or discussion for the city engineer before we make a motion? Hearing none, someone want to make the motion?
Make a motion to approve the resolution, approving plans and specs,
And advertising for bids?
and advertising for bids.
Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That will carry.
Oh, we just might mention, we are looking into that alternate of updating the water main through the Zion Church parking lot. So-
And was that included in, that wasn't included in the plans and specs yet, correct?
We have, yes, a plan sheet in there.
No, but I mean in the bid price, or the, excuse me, in the price, your estimate.
It wasn't included originally, however, with getting more specific numbers and everything, we actually, it looks like we can do it in what we have budgeted.
Really?
Yep. Our total base bid estimated with engineering and legal and advertising is 1.9 million. And we had estimated on all three parts of the project, 5th, Luella, and 12th Sunset, we were just over 2 million. So the alternate is, we're estimating at 69,000. If our numbers are good with what the contractors bring into us, we should be within that original budget.
Good.
Within the 2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Good, that's good to hear. All right, any other questions or discussion? Okay, thank you. I guess you can get advertising. Next item, transfer of liquor license. Strikers is requesting to utilize Minnesota State Statute 340A.404 sub 4 to sell intoxicating liquor at the Civic Center on January 27th, 2018 for the Chamber of Commerce banquet. Council action requested will be to authorize strikers to utilize that state statute to sell intoxicating liquor at the Civic Center on January 27th, 2018, subject to all proper application. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that also carries. And that is the end of general business. Now, that takes us to the mayor's staff and consultant reports. Mayor's report tonight. City would like to send our sympathies out to the families of Francis Jensen, Chris Quick, Barbara Erickson, Verna Ayers, Marv Lenz, Janet Mueller, and Larry Gilbert. Reach will be hosting a film screening of Resilience at the MAC on Monday, January 27th. Here's a really interesting one. Peggy Lenton Hale will be here to discuss her book, Tied with a Red Cord, Unraveling My Grandmother's Story. This will be done at the Stewartville Library on February 3rd at 1 p.m. Peggy would be Peggy Lenton, formerly of Stewartville. She's the daughter of Wendy and Marion Lenton. Wendy was, I think, pretty near the original manager of the elevator. I don't know if there was too many ahead of him. So that should be quite interesting. And that's all I've got on my report tonight. I'd like to thank the Public Works for the wonderful job they did with this massive snowfall. No one got the prize I was talking about, but
Just treating you like everybody else.
yeah, thank you very much for that. You did a great job again, you guys did. You kept the streets. We just heard from a citizen of ours that was on the way home and they stopped at Cannon Falls. Is that correct, Cheryl? And they said every town should come down and take a lesson from Stewartville's Public Works, how they can keep the streets open during these storms, because everybody in Cannon Falls was stuck in the middle of the streets. So we can be grateful for that. So thank you very much. City Administrator's report.
Reports in your packet, just a couple quick items to add. Gene Gustafson did get back to me from our questions or discussion at the last meeting. Their meetings are always the last Thursday of each month at 8 in the morning. And so he was gonna discuss with their board if the minutes work out for you. And he did provide those, so we'll send those out electronically so you can see the whole past year of minutes. And now hopefully he said he'll get back into that schedule of sending them to you following their meetings. So that might be all you really need, but if any of you are interested, let us know. And that's on that care center board. Then we did send out, we had Laurel send out a note to all of you. We are gonna be doing some of that major improvement work you had approved during our workshop last year at the Civic Center with the flooring. And so during the month of March, it'll probably be about a 2-week project just because of all the work that has to be done on the floor. But we're working with the Center for Active Adults. Hopefully, if anyone knows of some alternate sites that they can maybe utilize for a few days or a couple weeks, I think they'll appreciate that. And then and there were no rentals during that time, so it worked out great for us. And then just for everyone's health benefit is why we're just keeping it closed until we finish that work, because of the removal of the old floor and then the installation of the new.
So what do you guys put in the floor bill?
Yeah, so we'll be bringing the bids in to you for your next meeting. And
No, it's gonna be a polymer, epoxy with a polymer finish in the top coat with the chips. And he's gonna bring the, samples down for Laurel to pick out or whoever to pick out.
Oh, it is gonna have the chips in it, huh?
What's that?
It is gonna have the colored
It's gonna-
chips?
We looked at doing a polished floor, which is actually more durable, but the problem is there, usually a polished floor, they do it in one pour, so it's even throughout. We've had several different pours through there, so you're gonna get a different look with each different pour, because you got different aggregates inside the cement. So we decided to go against decided against the polished and to go with the polymer, 2-coat polymer.
Formal approval will be, all this information will be presented in our RCA at the next council meeting, and probably some samples that you can look at for your final approval. But we wanted to get all of our ducks in a
because
row
of the
to make sure of the
scheduling,
scheduling.
give everybody
and
enough
so
time.
forth.
So.
Yes, we do.
Then the last thing we put at your desk, you still have time to sign up, because Stewartville's hosting here next Wednesday, the SEML quarterly meeting. So I'll let Laurel know in the morning, and she can still get you signed up, registered, and it's right over here at the Civic Center.
The city will cover that for the council, right?
Yes.
Yep, that's correct.
So if you wanna go,
Let us know.
That should do her, thank you.
all right, any questions for city administrator? All right, they're reading your report, Bill. Barb, finance director's report?
Two things. On February 7th, which is Wednesday night at 7 p.m., we are scheduling the joint meeting with the townships to go over the fire contracts proposals for 2019. I did send to all council members that copy of that letter, and what we sent to all the townships will probably be getting in the mail in the next day or two. So that'll be at February 7th at the fire hall at 7 p.m. And then in front of you, I've put your copies of the final budget with the narratives, and if you would replace those or add them to the preliminary budget book, however you want. Some decide to throw away the preliminary budget so you don't get them mixed up with the final. Some of us keep both of them so we can remember what changes we made. So it's entirely up to you. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Finance Director? All right, thank you, Barb. That'll take us to Public Works Director, Sean.
Things are in there. The one thing is, bring up the hockey rinks. We did not clean them off today because underneath this snow, it's slush. And if we go in there with equipment, it's gonna totally ruin them. So we're gonna stay off until it's cold enough, and it might be a day or two before we can get back in there. And then it's supposed to be 36 and 43 Thursday, Friday. So we're just at a guessing game with those. But we didn't clean them off today for that purpose of underneath was total slush.
Are we getting some use at the new sledding hill and the skating rink and stuff there?
One of the guys that works down at the shop down there is one of the main guys that watches that rink at night, and he says it has been minimal. There was a bunch earlier, but he says now it is slowed down. We can take a look at the numbers and see if it's worth keeping that open or what you guys think of that. But I do think it's worth assessing that and taking a look at that.
Okay. Any other questions for Sean? All right. Thanks, Sean. Tell the guys good work again.
Thanks.
City engineers report, Jenna?
I have nothing to report on. We voted my work through, so.
All right, any questions for the city engineer? All right, thank you. No library director tonight? No fire chief?
Her report's in the packets.
Okay. That takes us to their committee, commission, and board reports. Chamber of Commerce. Their annual meeting is coming this Saturday?
Yep,
And that'll be where, Al?
Civic Center.
Civic Center? What time?
5:30, I think it's local, 5 or 5:30 is local.
Okay.
Catered by Gleason's.
Anything else you wanna point out to us that the chamber's got going on or anything?
Right now, Gwen is back helping us out. We're administrative assistant, and we're in the process of trying to figure that position out.
Gwen Ravenhorse? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Al. EDA HR8?
Just had a meeting, so nothing to report yet.
All right. Finance? We're all gonna get together down there for the fire hall meeting, have a good time that night. Library? And I think they got a meeting coming up. Park board?
No, we met a couple weeks ago, just reprioritizing projects. Things are going.
Everything's going right along. Good. Personnel, we have minutes of January 18th in there.
Yep. January 8th.
Oh,
Wait, no.
yeah.
No, was
Well,
it just,
It was the 8th, wasn't it?
when did we meet?
Or was it just the 18th? Oh, we didn't meet the 18th.
8th. I don't know, we just met though.
All right, planning and zoning. We've got 2017 permit summary in there. Do you have anything you wanted to add, Carol? Any questions on the permit summary that anybody has?
What are all these numbers?
What are all these numbers?
Yeah, are these dollars or?
Those are the, so there is a comparison back to what, 2012?
Their dollar
But the 20
valuations.
Yeah, it's how many, the first column is how many permits were issued in that category, and then it was the valuation.
Okay.
So overall, what do we have, about 7 million? I can't read it. 7 million in permits.
7.6.
The value of the project, not value, how much the permit cost.
Value of the project, yeah.
Yeah, when they come in for a permit, they give us an estimated value that has to be pretty close to the mark based on their bids, and so that's what we use. So really, this shows good news again for Stewartville, because that kind of growth, if you will, is happening around town, even if it's as simple as a remodeling project to something brand new, so.
Wonderful. All right, any other questions? All right, hearing none, we'll go to public safety. You got December's calls for service in there?
Yeah, next meeting, Strela will be here and he'll do the 2016 review for you.
All right. Public Works? Nothing at this time. ROCOG?
No, next meeting is coming up in February.
Stu 180? Anything? Oh, does it ever show on just a regular charter channel anymore, or do you just get it on the computer?
Just computer.
Okay. And that's what you go to, is Stu 180?
I believe that's how it's only coming through, but
Well, I had a
yeah.
citizen ask the other day, and I said I
You have to
hadn't
go
looked.
under, what's it called?
Tube.
Q something, isn't it?
Huh?
Q?
Q.
Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Transit Advisory Committee. Nothing under communications. Takes us to the open mic, which, anybody want to use the open mic tonight? Council welcomes and encourages participation from community members. Please keep in mind that your comments must be pertinent to city business and must adhere to data privacy rules. No employee's name may be used. Please do not expect action from the council this evening regarding your concerns. We would also request that your comments be limited to 4 minutes. Speakers be recognized only once. At this time, we ask that anyone who would like to address the city council to please step up to the podium. State your name and address. All right. Seeing how no one wants to do that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.